Hello, this video is going to be about my coronavirus project. I decided to build myself a chronograph. I'm calling it my coronograph. It was inspired by videos I saw online, the watchmaking lessons channel. I'll link those below in the description. But basically what I did was I went on eBay and I bought parts. I bought the works and the dial and the hands and the case, and figuring out how to put them all together. It's my first attempt, so I did a lot of things wrong, screwed some things up, lost some pieces flying off the tweezers, but I did get something that works in the end. So what you see here is a Seagull 1903 movement. It's a chronograph, so it's got a stopwatch built in the regular watch. It's set up so that the big second hand actually runs the chronograph, the stopwatch part, and there's a little second hand that runs off of the watch all the time. So right now what I'm doing is just removing the demonstration hands that were on the watch when I got it from the vendor so that you could test it and see that everything was working. It's got 3 subdials. One is the running seconds hand, one is the minute counting hand, and then one is a 24-hour hand that works off of the regular 12-hour hand. So here's getting the dial on and screwing it in place. Once that goes on, you can kind of see the face and how it works. So you've got the 3 subdials. The left hand one, the one that is at 9 o'clock, is the running seconds. The one that's at 3 o'clock is the minute counting hand, and the one that is at 6 o'clock is the 24-hour hand. So I put in this case the demonstration hands back on because I found the white beautiful hands that I had bought separately to be too difficult to manipulate for my my novice fingers, and I actually even lost one of them into the ether. It flew off of the tweezers and into a dust pile on the floor, never to be seen again. So at this point I had just reattached the demo hands because they were a little bit easier to manipulate, and that's what I have on there. So now I'm attaching the minute and hour hand to the main time display, getting those on in place, and turning them to make sure that they don't interfere with one another. You can see the running seconds hand going all the time in the background. And then this seconds hand here stays put except when the chronograph, the stopwatch part, is running. And so it's got a point right up at 12 noon to work correctly, and it took me quite a number of tries to finally get it in place. I had to give up for that night, come back the next day to finish assembling the watch. You can see here it's got all the hands in place. It's still keeping time. The running seconds are going. I'm using the tweezers to run the chronograph pushers just to see that it works. I'm cleaning up the watch where I touched it with my greasy fingers, using some Rodico to clean off any grease that might be on it. So here's the case itself, and those who are experienced will recognize already that this is going to look like an Omega Speedmaster when it's done, but I'm new enough at this that I didn't actually realize that's what it was going to look like until I got all the pieces put together. I just bought a dial and a case that I thought looked nice, and it had the features that I was looking for: stainless steel and good water resistance. Okay, so this case is set up so that it has a tachymeter on the front bezel, and then the works are actually held in by this plastic retaining ring. So that I originally bought little clips to screw in to hold the works in, but they actually don't get used on this. And of course I put it in and started to get it together, and the minutes counting hand fell off. So it was not secured well enough, so I had to take everything back apart and re-secure that hand, which, over time I got better and better at doing this job, but still learning. Okay, so now I got all that put back together, get the movement into the case here. It's fighting me. I don't want to screw up any of the delicate gears on the back. You can see its little heart beating the whole time. It really wants to go. Get that plastic retainer clip in. And then screw the back on. And I don't use a fancy back screwing thing. I use my patented big old wad of duct tape. So I just rolled up a bunch of duct tape into a wad, and that actually gives me enough friction to be able to unscrew the backs off of most watches. So here I am testing out the chronograph function. It's going to come all the way around, and when it gets to the 12 o'clock point, the minute should jump over 1. But what happens is, boop, it doesn't go. and what I figured out was that the spring that holds the gear that runs the minute hand for the chronograph was too tight. It was putting too much pressure on it, and so there was not enough strength in the gear train to push past that minute hand retaining spring. So I had to come in here with my little screwdriver and give it a tiny little tweak just to bend that spring a little bit, loosen it up. There may be a more nuanced way to do this, but that was the way that I managed to get it to work. So that I could now actually here have the chronograph run around past a minute. And what you'll see is that at this point, the minute counting hand does not jump entirely. I'm still having trouble with it being properly retained on its gear. So I sorted that out off camera. I don't think I have footage of how that got fixed. Okay, and so when I did that, I actually figured out how to manipulate those little white hands and get them in place. I'd lost one of them, so what I've got is the running seconds hand is a nice white hand, and the minute counting hand is a nice white hand, and the 24-hour hand I still have was the brass. And I think I'm going to leave it that way as a reminder of my learning experience here and how I got to this point. So what I'm doing now is I have to measure the stem, because it comes with a long enough stem it could fit on many different cases, and so you measure the stem on the case you're actually using, and then you have to go and cut it down to the right length. So I got it in this little hand vise here, measured it with my calipers and marked it, and then I'm going to clip it with my side cutters. You measure once, you measure twice and cut once. Well, what I do is I measure like 15 times and cut 4 or 5. You don't want to cut too much all at once. So what I do is I get close to what I think I need, put it back together to test fit it again here, and then once I know how much more needs to come off of it, then I sneak up on it with the clippers. So to get the stem to come out, you have to have the back off and push this little pin in that lets the stem out. So I should have probably screwed everything together. So I gotta just take it apart again. Pop the stem back out, back in the vise to come apart. This actually didn't take the most time. I have a lot of footage of it because I was actually able to get usable footage. The most time was just me trying to get the hands on those little bitty hands and the subdials. Were giving me a lot of trouble because I'm used to big things, working on cars, making knives and leather crafting, and this is just a new, very different skill set. It's fun and different, and it's good for me because it makes me think in different ways about the mechanical things I'm working with. Okay, so now I got it working. This is some footage of it in real time, not sped up. So you can see operating the way it's supposed to. You push the start button and it starts. So when you watch on the back, you can see push start, the idler arm comes over and that engages with the seconds display wheel. So there's a little wheel always going, and it comes up and engages with the second display wheel. And then there's a hammer. The hammer gets pulled aside when you start it, and then when you push the reset button, that hammer swings in and goes kapow onto the there's cams on the back of the 2 chronograph wheels, and that'll actually push them back to their 12 o'clock starting place. So here I'm adjusting the time, regulating it down, because when I first put it together it was gaining more than a minute a day. I don't have a time grapher to do this precisely quickly, so what I do is I just measure the time gained over or lost over several days, and then go in and adjust the rate. So I'm pointing now to the different wheels that actuate the chronograph. So you can see that these 2 wheels, the one on the right is actually the one that's on the running seconds hand on the front. When the chronograph is off, it's disengaged. When you push the chronograph on, then that idler gear comes in and engages with the middle wheel, which actually runs the chronograph seconds. Now you see that I pointed to is a little bitty tooth. There's only one tooth there. When it comes all the way around, it engages with another idler gear that flops it around, and that pushes the minutes recording hand 1 tick. So if you watch here, you can see that the regular minutes hand moves smoothly with the seconds hand and the hour hand, but the chronograph minute recording hand jumps forward each minute, and I think that those are designed to do that to reduce the amount of friction, so the chronograph can actually run and not slow down when you've got the chronograph function running. So that's what it is. I think I spent about $200 total in parts on this, including shipping, because I paid for the extra fast shipping to get it here from Asia, and that was probably a mistake. It's not a several $1,000 Omega. That would keep much better time and not have some of the hijinks that I have with the chronograph function, but it's still a really nice watch. I enjoyed making it myself. I made it parts I bought on eBay and put it together with my own hands. So I feel pretty good. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more like it, please subscribe. Give me a like down below. If you have any comments, ideas about things I could do better, or insights into how you might do this, or things that you've done in the past, projects you've got on the workbench, please leave a comment. I appreciate it. So thanks for your time, and keep making stuff. Make something every day.